into the super team. Like, this is what G2 keep doing. They keep building the best roster available to them. They've picked players from different teams all over the place. And you know what, Mitch? But we're getting right into our pistol round, so I'm gonna be quiet.
Now let's just be quiet for this one. No, I'm kidding. Magnum already taking a little bit of contact right off the bat. We're going to see the turret pop down, so they've got a little bit of retreat power, right? He can fall back without worrying about someone pushing up on him. Realizing that engagement, probably not one he wants to take off the bat. Coming into 1:15 on the clock, Wave have had their aggression up A. They've got good control right now, but this setup still requires 2 players because you need someone to be watching Belt this whole time for the Reyna down below, which means they can't stack up B, even though they suspect the hit to be coming in there.
Yeah, it's looking like Durka's about to take that early aggression. Nico looking to try and get something done here. The flash round actually gets nothing. Gonna blind a couple of players, but Durka gets the kill nonetheless. And already Magnum finding another one will leave us into an awkward position now for Wave. And they're getting slaughtered. It's only Murray left, and sure, he's on that Reyna. Sure, he can maybe heal himself up if he gets a kill. But Mitch, I can't say I really believe in this one.
Yeah, you know what, Tom? I'm gonna jump in that boat with you. Muri might be able to catch one as they come out through a middle. Oh, but oh, what a nice little flick. That was beautiful. But now they know where he is. And at this stage, his chances decrease significantly. We need quick headshots. We need big whiffs coming out of the side of FNATIC, and it ain't happening. So 1-0 we go. The pistol goes to FNATIC. Honestly, Tom, I want to get your take on this. Map 2 being Breeze. Do you think that this is FNATIC being caught off guard, or you think they've put in heavy prep?
I don't think this map would be in the pool if FNATIC didn't play it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like a sort of evil, we know, I guess, or like the evil the other way. Like, I just don't think that there's going to be any sort of opportunity otherwise. So realistically, I would expect that they have put some practice in.
Yeah, you would guess so. That was my same thought as well. At the same time, I really want to see if like, for Wave pulling it out, they must have something up their sleeve, right? They must have put in the preparation, and that's a map I'm super excited. It'll be our first cast of Breeze. Right here, this is also one more thing, Tom, because obviously we've been doing the open qualifiers. We've just been on the server, or our observer has been. Now we have that beautiful UI back. We can see the weapons, the abilities left.
So much.
Really, honestly, it's like a Christmas present getting to use this again. And because of that, we can see that there's just classics into this round. There's basically nothing to work with for Wave, and we don't expect them to get much done. But despite that, Carcass, I feel like he's the kind of guy that can come out with a couple kills. You know what I mean? A few right clicks up close, and there is a player right down below.
Yeah, he's the one who might be doing something a little bit cheeky here. Unfortunately, it's gone a little bit wrong for the remaining players as they try and get back into the site. He's actually a really almost interesting character when it comes to this roster, because when we saw him previously, let's go all the way back to right in the beginning of Challenges where we first saw them, where we even saw them upset FNATIC. He was a Jet one trick. I think that's the only way to really put him down as a player within the seed. He played Jet every single game. That was all we saw. Whenever we saw the agent select come up, we were like, don't worry, guys, Carcass is picking Jet. Now, he's almost like a Swiss Army knife. Like, we see him playing controller on some maps and just completely switching up the way that he plays and almost just filling in roles. So there's been a lot of development when it comes to this team. And I'll be interested to see if that's actually going to work out well for them.
I've realized as well that as I said, this is going to be an easy series for FNATIC. I really hope it is now, because otherwise I feel like my curse is genuinely going to be real. Yeah. And then I'm getting in trouble. Some angry tweets, some angry DMs. But
for anybody who doesn't know, yesterday Mitch predicted 4 teams, obviously out of 8. And every single one of them was wrong, without fail. Like, that included FNATIC. It was impressive. Like, it was impressively wrong. My prediction was that you'd cursed people, and that prediction was correct. So, if anything, I'm 1 for 0 right now.
Yeah, you and Paper Thin jumped right on it. You said, you know what? I'm going for whatever teams Mitch isn't. And you were right. So, I'm keeping my mouth shut today. Although I've already kind of spoken at the start. But anyways, we'll move past that. This is a buy round here, and we're obviously looking at FNATIC as a bonus, but they're still getting some damage done and making their way towards the site. With 30 seconds on the clock, it's time to plant. There's 2 players down this alley ready to spam through that green box. No safe haven for FNATIC to actually get a plant in, and it looks like they might just have to go for a decently open one. In fact, trying to bait out utility and sprays at the very beginning and leaving Durka to go up above for a kill. That's beautiful stuff with the spike. Still not down. The problem hasn't been solved, and now Durka's all alone. No, the right click into a dismissed Reyna. He loses his knives and loses his lives. That is going to be 2-1. Wave answering up here, but this was a bonus round for FNATIC, Tom, and all things considered, they did pretty well.
Yeah, of course. Like that is like... the thing is, you call that a bonus, right? Because it is. Technically, in terms of the finances, that is a bonus. When Durka has Bladestorm, I don't count that as a bonus anymore. Like, it's not fair. The man is too good individually. Also, we then have to talk about how many kills he got in the first couple of rounds to be able to afford that now, because we know that it's up to 7 orbs, which is a little bit more difficult to get. So the fact that he even has that in round number 3, a little bit absurd. But you know what? That is Durka on Icebox. He is almost like that loose cannon that is just sent in to try and start things off for FNATIC.
Here's the drone to start things off for FNATIC this time, but it hasn't spotted Muri, letting him get one and dismiss away. A teammate comes in, and it's Zeke. But he's on... Oh, hello. Hey, Gap. They know the dome is up close, but the communication wasn't there. Wave blindsided, and the advantage they had just completely disappears. FNATIC now on the side, and this time, the problems of the previous round won't come back to haunt them, as they can just get that plant down nice and easily. And Wave have to answer back. The good thing is, though, they've got Sky to do it, and the Flash is about to come back online. In fact, the Seeker's used to buy that space, but Mystic, he gets ahead of the problem and takes them both down. 3-1. FNATIC, they're here to play.
It almost seemed like even though they used the Seekers, they still kind of questioned where Mystic was going to be. It's like the ultimate itself tells you where they are. Now, I know from speaking a little bit to the side of Wave that I almost feel like the reason they're playing Sky in almost every single scenario is because they've realized that there is now an ability to almost abuse that agent in a lot of cases. Like that ultimate... I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think it should be 6 orbs. Like, I feel like that's ridiculous. Like, especially later on, we'll probably see Muri play it. How often do you think he's going to be able to get 6 kills? I think quite regularly. So it almost seems a little bit silly that they're able to get that so quick. And I wouldn't be surprised to see more duelists actually switching up so they can just have free information each round.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. In this round here, information is going to be the least of the problems, though, because they've got pistols. And we've seen what happened last time. FNATIC got away with a flawless round, bolstered their economy massively. But it's not going to be flawless. Oh, no! I was certain he was dead, caught as he puts his wall up, and still, the classic just not strong enough. The right clicks of old, maybe just coming back for a second, a glimpse into the past, with Nico dropping 2 and making sure that this is still a costly round for FNATIC, despite some good foundations in the early stages. They will have a bit of reinvestment.
He has a couple more clips there, can spam off a few more right clicks. Maybe actually has a chance to win that round. I don't think it's going to be happening. Now, I do want to premise this by saying that I don't think this is a particularly good map for Wave, just in general. Like, we've seen them try this specific comp where they bring in the Reyna once. And that was against one of the earlier teams they played within the qualifier. So if you're thinking that FNATIC are heavy favorites in general, on this map, if FNATIC don't win it, I think that that's a massive turnaround for Wave. Like, that would be a huge upset victory. Next map, though, is where things should get a little bit more interesting. Carcass, though, as said, this is where he's a little bit more aggressive, more of a duelist, more of a fighter for this squad. And he's got his trusty operator in play and already got things off to a decent start.
Durka suspected that he was around here. He was trying to jump and shoulder peek
it's a bait.
The angle for so long. That res coming in baits him into swinging wide, and the kill right afterwards. Now even a lockdown to be used, potentially, just to clear out the rest of the site, but it looks like they've decided against it. They have 55 seconds on the clock and a man advantage. Plenty to work with here, and it looks like they're going to allow Durka to have a little bit of... Oh, no, they're actually going straight in for the plants and spamming back onto Zeke. That's a nice little 2-man advantage and a spike plant with a Viper's Pit to protect.
Yeah, I think they've just planned around what ultimate they were actually going to use in this round. They had so many available to them on that side that just completely ends the round. And I think realistically, Wave are already starting to look to try and back Cow.
That was from up on top.
Was that just...
I was on top.
I thought he just shot him straight through the pit. I was thinking that that would have just been unreasonable if he'd done that.
Most random angle.
all right, that's fine. It does seem like for Cider, though, this might be a little bit of a tougher task. They're going to hunt him down because financially, FNATIC in a pretty damn good spot. The only round lost, their bonus, and even that, they dropped Wave down to just 2 players. But they're actually not going to find him. So you know what? He gets away with a gun. That's something at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's a small consolation for Cider. That spam would have been incredible had it have been through the Viper's Pit. I had to glance at the minimap for a second and just be like, wait, he is on top, right? But at 5-1, you're looking at a pretty significant lead for FNATIC. If they manage to claim this round, Wave will be in the dumps. They need it right here. And the good thing to look at is Carcass. He has that Blade Storm online, and we've already seen the insane impact versus a full buy that Durka was able to yield with the Blade Storm. Durka has it too, so we might have a Blade battle coming in.
Yeah. Oh my God. We call that the headshot angle because normally it benefits the player on the defender's side, but when you're up against Durka, it only gives him the head to aim at, and this man doesn't miss. An easy opener to start. He's already starting to sneak through, and actually the wall might end up hurting the opposition. It's going to be his teammates to pick up the final kills, and sure, he's lost all his knives, but Wave have already lost the round. It makes no difference.
Before the spike even touches the floor, the round is over. Wave saving these weapons right off the bat. As we mentioned, a loss in this round puts their economy in the dumps, and at 6-1 down, you're not going to throw 2 rifles at a 2v5. What I will say, though, is FNATIC's economy is pretty good. They could go and hunt these guys down if they want to, and I think at this point, Spidey senses start to tingle. You start to realize these guys, they're not really coming for this, are they? And you know that they have rifles, so the worst thing, you give them a Vandal. They already have one. Sometimes it is better to just carry the weapons through, but curious to see if they go.
If you're FNATIC at this point, like, sure, taking the weapons is always going to be valuable, but at the same time, Wave haven't really put up much resistance. Like, there's been a kill or two.
Yeah.
That's basically been it. This was a flawless round. Like, yeah, sure, you could run in, but maybe you give them some ultimate orbs, and I would almost say that it almost sounds a bit harsh, but I think the ultimates might actually be the bigger threat at this stage, because just them having rifles, they're just running over them. They're just walking through rounds. You're looking at Durka with an average combat score of almost 400.
Oh my God. It just seems obscene when you say that. 400 combat score. If you can finish on that, I'd be setting records or coming close to it. But yeah, 6-1. This is, again, somewhere that Wave need to show up. Because they've saved the rifles, they've even been able to get themselves up that operator thanks to the Blade Storm in the previous round. There's an opportunity, and there's the opening kill. In fact, that's the spike drop, but
no.
Nico gets spammed right back through the tube. And with him down, the man advantage sits to FNATIC. They've got a lockdown and a Hunter's Fury to play with, and they're running right towards that B site, where poor old Zeke is just waiting away with a Bulldog. The weakest weapon in play might have to be the strongest on this hold.
Zeke would have to pull off some sort of miracle. He does have a rotation coming in from Carcass, but I just think it's going to be too late. You've got the nano swarms trying to slow him down, information also being garnered, so Carcass having to use the small amount of smokes he has to actually just keep himself alive, and Durka is just the gatekeeper at this point. Carcass has found himself at least something to maybe give them an avenue back into this round, and you can see Cider just trying to hold on the flank, but there are now 2 players just holding to make sure that he can't get anything done.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that this one works out. Cider on the way up. If he gets the first, the trade should be there. And in fact, it's very rare you'd even check the angle that Magnum is on. He goes out staring at it. And it comes down to a 1 versus 2. If time wasn't such an issue, this would probably be winnable for Carcass. But he also doesn't want to be losing that operator and running through the middle. It'll be a guaranteed win for FNATIC. Although they have lost a lot of weapons, it does little to console the 7-1 deficit that Wave currently face.
Yeah, Yeah, I think in this case they realize, okay, well, if we get rid of the operator, then he can't buy one in the next round, so it's worth just throwing a few weapons into the wind. But yeah, thus far it just seems like FNATIC have a superb read on everything that's going on. Like, they're countering a lot of the initial aggressive plays that Wave are trying to make. Like, and you can understand now why Wave are trying to make them 6-1 down. Okay, let's take some initiative. Let's get aggressive with our duelist and, I guess, semi-duelist in the form of Sky. Pop flash through, get an opener, and then you just get spammed down because there were 3 players from FNATIC waiting on the other side. So thus far, at least, all we're really looking at is the fact that FNATIC, either they go aggressively into one of the sites and you've just got someone like Durka who's just opening things up like it's no man's business, or you have these rounds where Wave try and get aggressive and FNATIC just seem to be ready for them every single time.
I think it is definitely the right time to call that pause into question for Wave. They have the operator to play with. They have 4 ultimates as well. And this is what really makes it a workable round. If you even look at Cider right now, he doesn't have a lot of money. But if he pops down his ultimate of Viper's Pit somewhere and has a Spectre or I would say anything but a Sheriff, he's probably in a pretty good spot to get a kill or to stop them from pushing there and force the team of FNATIC towards the rest of the weapons. But as I look at the buy and how it evolves, it doesn't look like they're going to throw themselves at this round entirely. Despite having an operator and investing into that Vandal, the rest of the weapons are a little bit weaker. Marshall and 2 Sheriffs. Last second Marshall buy by Nico. You can see he's holding long range on A. But FNATIC, they've decided to make a pretty ambitious push in this one. 3 players straight through the tube. Up against a pistol buy, this could be incredibly dangerous, but in fact, this is the part of the map that Wave have left open.
Oh, they're going to do that filthy, like, elevated plant that just seems to be impossible to break back against. Like, they've done this a few times. Normally it involves Viper's Pit. They do. Somehow, though, this is actually going better than a lot of the other rounds. We've seen Zik now manage to find another pick. Oh, that was a moment for Carcass to actually turn the round. That would have made it almost impossible. And actually, we are going to see some ultimates thrown in. We've got the lockdown being put into place. Carcass now picked off, puts it back into a 3v3 situation. And we've seen the Seekers go through as well.
But the problem is, they've still not planted. So that lockdown, it pushes them off the B side, but they're like, all right, we'll plant on A then. No problem, bro. And they still, like, they're going to get this plant down. That means, I think it's Mystic planting. He's just 1 away from his Viper's Pit. If he gets the kill or dies, he's set up for the next round. Wave are not looking to be in a good position here, even coming into the next rounds. And Zeke with 86 HP and no shield. So there's the first from the top rope. That's a good start, leaving Magnum on 15 HP, but unfortunately, it's not going to be his. And we go 8-1, a dominant start on this map for FNATIC. And as we said, they have the advantage, it seems, coming into the latter stages of the half as well.
Just to clarify, he was still on the rope when he did that, right?
I believe so, yes. It looked like it.
So there basically is no such thing as rope inaccuracy. That's what I've learned. Because he didn't even, like, spray or anything. He just tapped 1 bullet while hanging onto a rope by the back of his hat, by the looks of it. I don't understand how that works. If I did that, the bullet's going off into the stratosphere.
Yeah, oh yeah. Very much the same for me. And that's the thing, Tom. We always watch these pro games together. We're like, you know what, let's go play some ranked. I bet I can do that kind of stuff. You try to replicate the plays, and you end up just kneecapping everybody. It's a shame. It really is. But I guess they probably put a few more hours in than we do. Carcass, put a few bullets in. Dome is down straight away. Durka manages to return it to Cider, and this Killjoy ult is going to push them completely off the A site, garnering full control to FNATIC. And as aforementioned, they've got that Viper's Pit now to even the odds or push them a bit in their favor.
Spike planted.
It's going to be popped almost instantly. Now, there is an Empress on the other side, but I don't think it's going to have the same sort of impact. Mystic is already going to be picking off 1. He's got Durka lurking around the back, but actually he goes pushing, and they lose Mystic as well. The worry here, though, is there's still a Hunter's Fury, if they even need to use it. And Magnum, up close, they don't even expect Boaster to just be hiding in the corner. Why would you? He has a Hunter's Fury online. You're going to think he's as far away as humanly possible, hiding in the back, ratting it out, and instead, he was on site.
Has he used his Hunter's Fury this half? I don't recall it.
I'll be honest with you, Mitch. I don't think FNATIC have needed their ultimates that much. Like, let's put it this way. The round before, where there was the pistols, the rifles, whatever, we saw multiple ultimates popped by Wave in a 3v3. FNATIC used none and still won the round.
That's, disappointing, shall we say. It is the map pick of FNATIC if we want to sow some,
Oh, so dead.
some seeds of hope, but I don't know about that. I still feel like when we come over to the next map of Breeze, that's somewhere that you can't even escape him, man. Sneb's a headshot as well through the cloud burst. Disgusting. Yeah, like, coming onto the next map, I don't see... I'd love to believe in the narrative that Wave are in a position where they're just going to really have some insane strats and catch FNATIC off guard, and FNATIC don't know how to play Breeze, but I can't believe that for a second.
Yeah, as said, going into this one, what I will say is I think along with maybe Ascent, I think, which is what they banned. Oh my god, is he actually just going to ace this round? Might as well. Come on, Durka. Let's close it out. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes hunting for it. Murray might just... Like, he doesn't want to save onto this because obviously he'll get more from the bonus in the next round. So it's going to be the idea to get a kill. Mystic in a 5 versus 1 is still doing lineups. He's like, guys, don't worry. Just in case he tries to defuse when there's 5 of us on the spike, I've got a lineup ready just to make sure. I just hope you know that, guys. I'm prepared. Ooh. Murray, though. Oh, not...
That was a headshot.
Not the 1.5. Yeah. Oh.
There's no worse feeling, man. There really is no worse feeling. And honestly, in terms of where the meta sits right now, I like where the Sheriff is. At the same time, every time I hit a 145, I'm like, God, they need to buff this. Should be one-shot headshot from any range.
Do you know what that's like? It's like if you, say, order some food from a specific fast food place, and they deliver everyone else's food, and you don't get yours.
Yeah.
Right?
They call that the hypoc, right? They just give you an apple pie and leave every other part of your meal out of it. Oh yeah, that's the hypoc. At 2 a.m. when you're absolutely starving after a 10-hour broadcast. So much. Just the best thing was the guy literally waved the apple pie at him and said something in German. We didn't know what he said, and we've had many theories in the latter stages, but hey, there's an opening for Wave. Carcass, again on that operator, able to get it done. Now, this is the last round of the half, and if you take a look at the ultimates in play, there is a res that's immediately popped up. Over on the Wave side, they've already used Viper's Pit, they have Empress, they have Bladestorm. There's a bunch to work with here, but the numbers now evened up. They've actually managed to deal a lot of damage to Durka, almost taking him down on that initial fight. With the decay, he was 50 HP getting out of there.
Yeah, this time, of course, it's not like one of those rounds where he just has the Bladestorm, so he still has a rifle to boot. Zik, this is aggressive. And I don't know, maybe gets a little bit frightened by the amount of players spotted on the other side, and eventually he's going to get cleared. The Hunter's Fury definitely helping there. It's been used at least. Nick trying to do his best, and actually he's got 2. 30 seconds a good opportunity here. Cider in the right place, but not quite the right timing. And now only 2 remain. It's going to be Carcass, who's been spotted as well, as if it isn't already difficult enough. And Nico.
Spike planted.
Oh, he's a little bit low, and unfortunately, unlike Sage, can't heal himself.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem on 36 HP. As they come into the site, Carcass is going to be the one to do the heavy lifting. At least you'd hope so. That's where the Bladestorm comes out. Not going to use that operator as a shotgun when you basically have a shotgun. Nice shot onto Magnum, but ultimately it will amount to nothing. 11-1 on the board, and that dominant game for FNATIC hasn't been cursed, thankfully. It looks like they are very much in the driver's seat, with Durka almost hitting 20 kills in the first half alone. That is ridiculous.
407
across 12 rounds.
It's gone up since we mentioned it last time. Like, that's unreasonable. Like, we mentioned it because it was such a high stat. We're like, yeah, it's round 7, and then you get to round 13 and it's higher. Yeah, this is the thing. Not only are Wave having to face FNATIC, they're having to face lower bracket angry FNATIC, which is the scariest FNATIC of all. So yeah, I will say I am a lot more hopeful for Breeze. I don't know if they'll be able to win it, but this is one of the weaker maps for Wave. I think that they've been recently trying to change comps because things just weren't necessarily working, even against like weaker opposition. Well, most opposition is weaker than FNATIC, but you get the point, against more local opposition. So I think that they knew somewhere in this series there was probably going to be a gimme map. Maybe they thought there was an opportunity here rather than on Ascent. I'm hoping Breeze is going to be a bit closer. And also, I'm just excited because I've never casted a Breeze before.
I don't think,
Oops.
even looking back at Breeze and how it's been played out, I'm very excited to see FNATIC's take on it. Like, I want to see what they do in this series. At the same time, with such a dominant first map, I'm like, are they really going to end up in a spot where they show everything right now? I think that they'll probably be much, much looser on Breeze, and what we're going to see from them in the next map is not...
Triple duelist?
Oh, well, let's not be ridiculous now, Tom, please.
Who would do that other than, well, FNATIC?
I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying I don't want it. Oh, Mystic through his own wall, and he takes down Zeke. This is like a final nail in the coffin. If Wave lose this pistol, it is without a doubt over. And indeed, it's looking like it might be Carcass. The final remaining member has a 1v4 in his hands, and these players are just destroying him through that cloud burst before he even sees a victim. He's a player. He's 5 HP, and that will be 12-1, Tom. It is a shockingly dominant map. I know I said I expect this series to be relatively easy for FNATIC, but this it's another level, really.
This is a little bit silly, I think is the way I would put it. It's also one where you almost get to the stage where you're like, okay, they're just running around. Also, he's hit 420 ACS, just thought I'd point that out. Enjoy that, chat. And how much you guys love the funny numbers. Haha. But yeah, I'm not expecting much. Of course, it's going to be a 4-spy.
That's cool.
And in terms of 4-spies, they're fairly even just because... Well, they got the plant, so there's at least a little bit of extra money. By the looks of it, we might have a bit of a cheeky execution coming in.
I did like the nanoswarm throw over to B just to save from spawn, so he's not late to the A site. And it's a good job because there's lots of players coming into A looking to take the site. Boaster goes straight through that poison orb, ends up down on 2 HP. Some of that will regen up though. And as we end up in a advantage again for FNATIC, Wave, they need to find something. They need a hero in this round to keep them alive and give them a shot to at least get more than the one on the board, and it might just be Muri. There's the first kill for the Reyna. He's been kind of quiet, but in some rounds, those 2Ks, those 3Ks, they come in. Use the dismiss instead of the heal, so now he's very low, and up on the rope, Zeke is taking a lot of damage. Mystic able to close one out, but the spike has made it to the side. It looks like it might even be planted until